Welcome to part one of How Faithful is Old Faithful. So in this section, we're going to look at the mean of the wait times in between when Old Faithful erupts. So let me give you an example. Here is day one, and the first one says 71. So that would mean from the first time it erupts in the day, it's 71 minutes to the second time that it erupts. So these represent minutes in between eruptions of Old Faithful. So people can get an idea of how faithful is Old Faithful. So what we're going to do is take each day. We have 14 days in our data here, and we're going to find the mean, and we're going to make a chart. So I'm going to give you an idea of how to do this, but you're going to have to do this on your own also. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you how to get the mean of this data. So I'm going to look through all my data and just get an idea of the longest column, and that's day 3. So I want to make sure that I put my mean all on the same row because I'm going to use it to make a chart. So I'm going to just go below that to put in my mean. So I'm going to go to the first cell here in day 1 down at the bottom, and I'm going to use a formula to be able to calculate the mean of this data. So to do that, I'll click here and I'll go in and put insert function, and we're going to look for the average. So I just click on average, and I think you're going to be amazed at how simple this is. So now that I have average, I'm going to tell it where to get the average from. So I'm going to click here on 71, and normally I would just stop here, but because I know I want to get more data than that as I go across, I'm just going to pull it all the way down. It won't change the outcome, and it will help us as we simplify this process. So once I get that all selected, I'm just going to hit my enter key, and it gives me my mean. So my mean for day 1 is 71.33. So once I get that, I'll click in that box, and you see the little blue box down at the bottom. I'm going to take that and click and drag all the way across the bottom here to the end here to day 14. And when I let go, it fills in all of those columns with the same formula, but it will just apply it to that column. So you'll see I have all my data here right across the bottom. So that'll get you started on how to get the mean. Then we want to put in a chart. So I'm going to select this row that has all of the means in it, and I'm going to go to Insert Chart. And you'll see they've got some really fancy charts here. But we don't want any fancy charts. We're just going to go to our regular everyday charts. So we want to do a line chart. And when I click on line chart, you'll notice I don't get any data. Well, that's because our data is across in a row instead of in a column. It's accustomed to having it in a column. So if I'll go back to the Start tab here, and if I switch rows and columns, that tells it to go look at the row as a column, and it'll give us our data there. And so basically this is the data that I want. So I make sure I have my line. You can even do a smooth line if you don't want to do a jagged line. I'm going to do a smooth line and insert that into my spreadsheet, and that's basically what you need to do. You can also take your chart. It's saving. Let's see if it'll let us do this. And I want to publish my chart. And I don't think it needs to be interactive. I really just want to do it as an image. And so here's our source for our image. And you just need to copy that. Done. And put that on a clipboard because you're going to use that in the next part of the lesson. And you'll use this data right here to help you draw your conclusions in the next piece.